Hello, everybody. Now, today is an exciting day because this is about how we stay unbelievably healthy through the winter. If you're watching from the Southern Hemispheres, it's how you're going to keep healthy through the summer. But this is also, as well, for those people going into darker nights, more colds, bit of fear, more fear about COVID. And I just want to feel that I'm going to do every single thing I can do to keep my body so well so that I can keep the virus at bay. I don't want to get the virus. Some younger people might want to get it, so they've had it. I don't want to get it ever. And a bit of my inspiration, I'm wearing pink today. The reason I'm wearing pink today, I don't know how many of you saw the Great British Bake Off last night. It's a TV show. It's on Channel 4. But Prue Leith, I was looking at her and I was thinking, is there a woman more joyful, wearing more colour, more full of life than that woman? And I looked up Prue's age and she's 80. She's 80, everybody. I had no idea Prue Leith was 80. Now, if you live somewhere outside of England, look up this woman, because that's where I want to be when I'm 80. Let's look at those role models. You might be 20. You might be looking at me as a role model when you're old. But I'm looking at Prue as a role model. And how do we get there is we look after ourselves. That's what we do. And we make a commitment to ourselves that we're going to look after ourselves. And I think that comes from self-love. Because I think the more you really love yourself, the more you want to respect your body, the more you want to put good things inside your body, the more you want to have a nice skincare routine, the more you might want to do nice makeup. But that self-love, very woo-woo, but I'm just going to say it, then allows you to give your most to the people who are really nearest and dearest to you and beyond. So it all starts with that for me. And today we've got a great guest, and this is a guest who has put me on a journey of health. And even though I have my ups and downs, generally I'm a 56-year-old woman, and I wake up and I have a kick in my step. I have a run in my step, and I enjoy and embrace most of my days. The turning point in looking at my health, was a number of people in my life. It was Erica Schwartz looking at menopause for the first time. It was, Julia Hunter really looking at my skin. And it was also Shabir looking at what I put inside my body in supplements. And Dr. Sepp. We can't forget delicious Dr. Sepp. So we've got Shabir today, and you might already be on some routines, but he's just brilliant. And if you've never met him before, you'll be inspired. I've never met a man with such humility and joy in his life. So that's what we're doing today, girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen. And I can't wait, because I think we all need to hear it. And even if you just take one thing away from today, think about what you're doing for your body and think what more maybe should you be doing. All right, and we're going to hear all the different things we could be doing in terms of what we can put inside our body with Shabir.
Good afternoon, Trinny.
How are you, Shabir?
Very well, you?
It's been a while.
It has. I think everyone's routines have changed, haven't they, somewhat?
I think they have, and that's what's interesting, because I think when everything hit us at the end of March, I was like on the phone to you every day saying, Shabir, what do I use to protect myself from the virus? That was like, I need everything you can throw at me. And you set me up, Shabir, on such a good regime. And that regime, just for the viewer, is L-lysine, antiviral, a ton of vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, limitless, which I threw in, daily immunity, which I've just gobbled. That combination has, I feel, kept me very healthy.
Good. I'm glad to hear.
What I'd love to know from you is where you think we are now, because, the virus has been around for 6 months. We've had people in our lives who've been affected by it, people who have been in hospital because of it, people who it's been a walk in the park.
Yeah. I mean, there's still talk about a second wave coming along.
Yeah.
The number of cases have increased tremendously, the number of infections again.
Yeah.
And immunity is very, very much still on people's mind. I mean, I think it's on people's mind every winter anyway. We all want to stay healthy prior to the winter. We don't want to get infections, cold. I mean, the common cold is the most common infection in the world, obviously.
Yes.
And we all want to stay healthy, but this year more than ever, it's become a priority for everyone. And the number of people I get emailing, talking about what am I supposed to do? Because it is confusing, let's face it. I mean, you have got people who are unsure as to what supplements they should take.
Yeah.
And they're unsure as to, all these devices which are around, to kind of clean their phones and to UVC their phones and device. So there is a lot of confusion still out there, and we're just here to help as far as supplementation is concerned. We just have to point out, we obviously have to have a caveat that at the end of the day, we're not trying to say that these will help against COVID.
No.
All we're saying is that these will support your immune system so that hopefully it's in its prime to counter against any infection, whether it's the flu virus, which is still going to be around, or whether it's
not
COVID.
going away. No. I know what you're saying, Shabir, and we're not pretending to be doctors here, but I just know from experience I remain really healthy. I've got lovely ladies who follow us a lot. Booth Cockapoo, she has COVID at the moment, and she's a woman similar age to me, so and she works in essential care. So I think that there's Caroline, you don't know Shabir, you're so lucky that you're going to meet him today because he's fabulous. So where do we start, Shabir? It's like,
I think the strategies remain the same each year, because we just happen to have another virus that's affecting us, but the strategies to prevent infection still remain the same. So we've still got to start off with the fundamental basics. And I know everyone's probably tired of hearing about this, but clean your hands. Practicing good hygiene is not novel. We've been saying it for years, and this year, we've just got to be extra careful and extra methodical. I mean, I'm still surprised to find that I think most people have now got a sanitizer or a little sanitizer in their bags or briefcases or whatever. But in the past that sort of thing for the majority didn't even carry a sanitizer. But I think we've moved on from that. So that remains the same, because if your hands have got any part of an infection, you could spread it on your face, and the points of entry are obviously your nose, your eyes, etc., and the skin. If you've got a cut in the skin.
And I think something I felt is, like, I have a cut in my finger now, and I was thinking I must band-aid it, but I use your white with the navy sanitizer. I use that one, or I use one from Purdy and Fig, but I'm obsessive. Can I just ask you, I want to go back a second. This is something Deborah's brought up, Shabir. And I know you're not a doctor and you're a pharmacist, but I want to understand your thought. So, this is her comment. The healthiest people are getting COVID. We try so hard to keep healthy. One gets it. Please explain.
I think it's just the question of the fact that how do you define healthy? I mean, at the end of the day, what have we been exposed to that, there are all sorts of different types of immunity, innate immunity, there's acquired immunity, and all those sort of factors come into account. Will spread in a confined environment, and you may be 1.5 meters or 2 meters away. So there are so many factors that come into play. It is difficult.
When I look at people who've got it, and we don't know the details of everybody else's lives, so we can just only do what we can do for ourselves. And if there are people watching who have got it, who felt, I did everything I could to be healthy and yet I got it, I mean, for me, I don't know. I have my own mad thoughts, which is whether you're in close proximity to somebody and they have a stronger version of it, and therefore you kind of catch it, whereas other people on your same health levels weren't so close to some. It's like
absolutely. I mean, I think we know for a fact that the human body is so complex, and that the immune system is probably the most complex system in our bodies. We know a lot about our female hormonal health, for example, but we don't still fully understand the immune system. So that two people having the same flu virus infection, one will recover 3 days later, and the other will take 8 days on average.
And that is okay. So
it's the response it's called the immune response, basically.
Okay, so let's look at the biggest questions. What is the list of the supplements? There's a lady here saying, would love a list of your supplement list to promote immunity. I see a nurse. She's around so many things that are stresses on her immune system. This is Stephanie. This is a great place to start, Shabir.
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing I always say is we look at the fact that we should eat healthily, obviously. We will come to the supplements in a minute, but I think it's important to understand that there is no substitute for eating a healthy and well-balanced diet. At the end of the day, we've got to have the variety of fruits and vegetables. We've got to incorporate some protein, some carbs, etc., and everything else. The problem remains is all of us, well, I say all of us, a lot of us have food groups that we love.
Yeah.
So tend to stick to those. Some of the foods we maybe, some of us tend to like processed foods a lot with little or no nutrient value.
Yeah.
Some of the foods may be days old. So if you look at an orange, I think we've picked on this before, where you look at an orange on a tree and it's got 60 milligrams of vitamin C. By the time it reaches the supermarket, it's about 10, because it's taken X number of days to come to the supermarket. And in that time, the vitamin C content has diminished. So, you know, all those factors play into account. You have to take all those into account. So in order to ensure that our immune system is not malnourished, so to speak, of the nutrient value, I think it is always important to take a multivitamin. Think of a multivitamin as an insurance policy.
Yeah.
You know, you may never need your insurance policy, or you may never need to claim it, but you still take it out because just in case. So, you know, a multivitamin fills those gaps, fills those nutritional gaps, in case you've not had a good day on food, for example.
Okay. So I would say to you also, Shabir, that in my life of trying supplements, you know, and I do believe very strongly that it's very difficult unless I sit right by a farm, that I have foods at their optimum vitamins, and I need to take supplements. I know that as a given. Whatever lovely ladies might occasionally post here, it's like, I know that. You've taught me that. I get that. But when I'm looking at the vast array of supplements, because I think some literally have nothing in them and some are really good. So how do you navigate that, Shabir? Because you for health, I'm just going to say, because Shabir, you have a huge selection. So it's not like you're brand centric, which is what I love and why we're talking this. Right. So, and like you must have many different multivitamins. So how do you know which is the best? How do you know which one is for you?
So I always tend to look at, first of all, our policy is not to go synthetic vitamins anyway. So there are many synthetic vitamins which you can buy in supermarkets, etc., that are totally made in the laboratory, isolated from chemicals. Ascorbic acid is manufactured in that, and that's the way it is. Those are what I call synthetics. Then we have some of what we call semi-synthetics, where you've got some of the food-based vitamins mixed in with some synthetic vitamins, which makes life easy for them to manufacture into a tablet. And then comes the hardest part, food state multivitamins. So food state vitamins are the hardest, because you've got to now make a broth of your vegetables and your fruits and your marigold flowers and everything else. You make a broth of it, you extract the nutrients out of it, you then put it into either a tablet or a powder, and then you end up with a supplement that has almost identical vitamins to what your body requires. So
people literally should just try and have that third category, Shabir.
I think it's boils down to personal choice. If it was me, I always recommend food state, but obviously Victoria Health has to still have some of the brands that people may want.
Yeah.
So we do have to stock them. But yes, if it was me, it would always be food states, which is why I've kind of brought two of them along, which we talked about in March, and they're sitting on my table. So
okay, show me your two, and then I'm going to do a few questions. Then we'll go on to the next.
Sure. So the first one is basically called Alive. It's Alive Once Daily Multivitamin, and I'm just going to show that to the viewers. So this is a 1-a-day simple vitamin mineral with all the green foods, the fruit extracts, all made into one compact. It is a large tablet.
Yeah.
Fine. But most of us can swallow it, and it's a great product. And remember, vitamins, as I said before, they're not substitutes. I mean, you're not substituting your diet with a vitamin. You're adding to your, hopefully, your healthy diet.
But I think there are a lot of people, Shabir, who run around, they know they don't eat right.
No, correct.
They aren't. I think, people who, essential workers getting a chance to eat properly. And I think even more important for these people to have great supplements. Okay, next one, darling. Yeah.
So the next one is a powder, which we, I think, really picked on last time, was the Terra Nova Life drink. Again, this is a deeply nourishing drink. So the difference between the two, as far as the nutrient values.
And can you show it high? Bring it back, because the comments, by the way, if people are getting lots of comments, tap once, and the comments only become the last comment. So Life Drink by
Terra Nova.
Terra Nova, okay. Why is this so good?
So you have, again, a selection of fruit state vitamins in there and minerals, but you've got some digestive enzymes. So digestive enzymes are good to break down your food efficiently so that you can extract the maximum nutrient values out of that. You've also got 2 types of protein in case you're skipping the meal or something like that. You've got 2 types of vegetable protein in there. And remember, proteins are used to manufacture immunoglobulins, which are made from protein to signal the white blood cells to attack a foreign pathogen.
So it's strengthening your immunity.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, I ran out here, by the way. I need more of that. That is such a great product. And also, I think for people who find it difficult to swallow pills, and it doesn't taste bad at all. It's slightly sort of blackberryish. Yeah, it's very nice. I'm just going to do quick fire questions.
Sure.
Do you ship States? I think you ship worldwide.
We do ship most countries, yes.
Okay. Let me just see. My neon pink jumper is from Essentials Antwerp. Is it safe to take supplements when you're on antidepressants? I take a very small antidepressant at night, a little tiny, like, helps me sleepy one. That's never been, I think you have to check, depends on what antidepressant you are on, obviously, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, generally speaking, multivitamins and minerals should be perfectly fine. It's when you get to herbs that problems arise, because many herbs, well, not many, but there are certain herbs that do have highly mood elevating properties, and they may not necessarily be, they would not be recommended with antidepressants.
Yeah.
Some
What's
herbs.
Quick fires, 5 quick fires, and these off subject, but we're going to slowly get in this layer of the important supplements you should be taking around this time of year. So Patty is asking, how about calcium after 50? Is it a must?
I think you have to first find out your family history, because at the end of the day, if you have a history of osteoporosis, go and get an osteoporosis DEXA scan done. That will tell you where your calcium status is. And once you know that, then you can decide whether you need to take a calcium supplement. Because remember, too much calcium is bad for you. It actually deposits in your tissues and ages them.
Okay,
so you need the correct balance of calcium, or a calcium that is water soluble, so that once your body assimilates what it can assimilate, the rest is excreted out.
Okay. Could too many supplements give you a headache?
Not known for, no.
Okay.
Not that I know of. I mean, you know, if you're talking about herbs, again, herbs are foreign to your body. I'm not talking culinary herbs. I'm talking other herbs. They're foreign to your body, so they can cause some side effects.
Okay.
But you usually acclimatize to.
All right.
So we've talked about vitamins anyway. Carry on. Sorry.
Yeah. Ruth Pokapoo is saying, how long does Magnolia rhodioli take to work, please, Shabir? Just for everyone else, Magnolia rhodioli, you gave me a supplement for perimenopausal, menopausal. It kind of lifts your spirits. I think it straight away.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people who say it does work very, very quickly, often within 2 to 3 days. But on average, I tend to recommend people to try it for at least 14 days. For the majority, 14 days, they see the difference by that time.
Yeah.
They experience the benefits of mood elevation, nerve calming, and ability to focus as well.
Exactly. Okay. So somebody, yes, shipping to Australia, they ship to Australia, and they
We do. I mean, obviously, yeah.
Get on to vitamin D, because even though we are, you know, some ladies are watching from Australia, and we're going to talk about vitamin D and zinc, by the way. I know we're going to talk about those two, Shabir, and also daily immunity and what's in that. So where do you go to, darling? Because lots of people want to
So vitamin D. Now, numerous studies indicate that certainly in the Western climes, are deficient in vitamin D. By the time we reach December, most of us only got enough to sustain normal functions of skeletal functions, basically, not for everything else. So vitamin D used to be considered great for strong bones and strong teeth. But obviously, scientists have now found that vitamin D is involved in almost every function in the body, from regulating sugar to regulating cell division, multiplication, replication, all those sort of things. Vitamin D is involved in mood across the board. So it follows, and there are enough studies that indicate that vitamin D deficiency is very, very widespread in the adult population.
Yeah.
And even people who live in sunnier climates, should we say, there is still a great amount of people who are deficient in vitamin D. It's because of our overuse of sunscreen. I'm not saying that sunscreens are bad for you, but a lot of people just will put a sunscreen straight away rather than give the skin a little bit of exposure to manufacture vitamin D.
Yeah, and also if you live in Australia, I mean, I would advise really strongly that sort of if you could be outside for half an hour between 7 and 9 in the morning, and for your stomach, I think, Shabir, the place that most absorbs, you told me this, or Erica Schwartz, most absorbs vitamin D is your stomach.
Yeah,
and
correct.
that's straight to your organs anyway, and that's where it needs it. So think about that if you live in a warmer climate. Shabir, one thing I want to ask too, because all these supplements we talk about, they cost money, and some people are on a limited budget, and if they kind of think, what do I take? I kind of want to take everything. I can't afford to take everything. So what do I need to focus on? You know, what's the thing that I really can't live without, and how can I manage my budget so I feel I'm getting it, I'm not being...
I think I completely understand that, and I think for me the vitamin that I think is the most important single vitamin is vitamin D3. Without shadow of a doubt, it's very economical in use. So the adult version costs about £8, and it's a 100-day supply, and I think that's very economical for what it offers you. Likewise, they do the children's version, because we have to take the family into account. Obviously, we're talking about adult, with adults here, but there are versions of it. So we've always recommended the DLux 3000 vitamin D for adults. And I'll put this up here so that people can see it. It's BetterYou's DLux vitamin D3 daily oral spray, and the reason is this supplies you. One pump supplies you with 3,000 units, and one of these lasts 100 days.
Okay, I do 3 pumps a day.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Okay, but I just
so vitamin D3. There is enough evidence out here that talks about vitamin D3's role in ensuring that the white blood cells do not remain dormant. That's the only role of vitamin D3, is to activate.
The white blood cells don't remain dormant.
Yeah. So you need. So there are herbs which increase white blood cell counts, but we need vitamin D in order for them to be activated to engulf a pathogen like a virus or a bacteria.
So it's like a precursor, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. So
what's the
there are, just so that we don't forget our children, and there are plenty of them. They do BetterYou do a DLuxInfant, and they do a DLuxJunior. So the infant is from 3 months to 3 years.
Yeah.
And the junior is from 3 years to 12 years.
Okay. So if there's one supplement you could afford at the price you're saying, I think everyone could try and make that decision.
Absolutely.
Do that in their life. I think that's fantastic. That's great. Like, baseline, we should be doing it. Brilliant. Now, can we just talk a little bit, Shabir, about the importance of, well, I'd love to talk about daily immunity, because I do like that and what that does, but also the importance of making our body less acidic and more alkaline, and how much you think that. I feel, just speaking to lots of, people like at Beaver Mire and things, the importance of having an alkalized body, because I feel viruses in general attack alkalized bodies less than acidic, high sugar bodies.
I think the theory would be the fact that when almost everyone, well, not almost everyone, but a lot of people have what we call an acid crisis. So we're tending to eat foods that leave our bodies in an acidic state.
Yeah.
And the problem with an acidic state is, and I think this is a subject that we'll have to talk about at some point in greater detail, is inflammation.
Yeah.
And if your body is inflamed, you're going to be more susceptible to everything across the board, because every process of your body is not going to be working efficiently. And I think that's the crucial thing. So alkalizing your body with greens and other avenues are important, but not. I mean, I've had people who've been drinking gallons of sodium bicarbonate to alkalize themselves, and I think that's a bit extreme.
I do take a tablespoon or a teaspoon of sodium bicarbonate.
Just a teaspoon,
a teaspoon, yeah. I take that every day, because I feel that is, I remember you also gave me some things to promote acidity in our body, because sometimes when our body's too acid, there's something not better. Dean, what did you give me?
Betaine hydrochloride to break down things more efficiently. Yeah,
exactly, betaine hydrochloride, so that therefore because maybe I had too much, it wasn't breaking down things. Correct. And this balanced out my body.
Yeah.
Can we go back for a second, because recommended daily vitamin D dose, people keep asking. I'm sure we've answered it. Make sure everyone's questions get answered. Could you just repeat that again?
Right. So the are we going to start with infants, or are we going to?
No, just do adults. And
just
then,
the adults.
And
so
just
the adults.
You can go on to Victoria Health and you can see this in detail.
So the adults, I tend to recommend 3,000 units a day, every day.
Oh, that's it.
That applies to men and women.
Okay.
And then every year, if you can, you have the right to, you go to your GP and say, I want my vitamin D status, please, because it's important. Too much vitamin D will leach out calcium from your bones. Remember, vitamin D's role, aside from immunity, is to also take calcium from your gut into the bloodstream. So you do want to have a vitamin D status every year, if possible. Right. But 3,000 units should cover an adult male and an adult female every day. Yeah.
And Magnolia rhodiola is good for mood. You had something called Mood, didn't you?
FLORASSIST Mood Improve, which was a probiotic.
Yeah.
It's very specific strains which have been found to reduce what we call stress markers in the gut. Remember, the gut is the biggest producer of serotonin, aside from the brain. It's in the brain, but the largest amount of serotonin is actually produced in your gut. And then you have signals that go from your intestines into your brain. You have a bundle of nerves that carry it all the way through to the brain. So the transmission serotonin sends to the brain, because we know if we've got a terrible gut, often it affects our mood. And likewise, if we've got stress, it affects our gut. So there's a two-way communication between the gut and the brain.
Yeah. So if you take too much, what Shabir has said is it's important to get your levels checked. I think, Shabir, there is a responsibility we need to have to convince our local GPs that we might need a vitamin D test. And I think at the moment they are overwhelmed with a lot of, more severe cases. So we don't find it so easy to be demanding of things that we think are not life or death. But is there any other way?
I mean, let's put it this way: the real toxic issues with vitamin D arise at around 50,000 units. So when we're talking 3,000 units a day, we're pretty much far away from those sort of dosages. So we're comfortable with that, but I still maintain that an annual test, where possible, given the current circumstances, it's hard, is advisable.
And vitamin D, I would say it's a personal choice, Claudia, but I much prefer taking the vitamin D as a spray, because I think I get a much better dose of it and it goes straight in. So
no, absolutely. If you take a capsule or a tablet form, because it has to go through the acid environment of your stomach, whether it's a drug or a supplement, quite a bit of that capsule or tablet will be deactivated by the stomach acid. Yeah. Whereas this oral spray form, you spray it inside the cheek, and because you've got the blood vessels inside your cheek, nearly all of that 3,000 units is delivered into your bloodstream.
Yeah. This is a very interesting little question, but I like this from Lou. Yeah. With vitamins that require eat with food, how much food do you need to eat?
It's
a good
the larger the meal. The larger the meal, the greater the amount of digestive enzymes produced.
Yeah.
And so the more you're going to assimilate, because remember, digestive enzymes break down everything, including your supplements. If you've taken them in a capsule form, etc., so you're going to assimilate more.
Food. We're not saying, all supplements should be taken when you're eating, but for the ones with food, they're there because they need the digestive enzymes to break them down. Great. Correct. Really good to know. Thank you. Very good. Lemon water, is that good for acidity? I take hot water and lemon every morning. I do believe it's good. It's a great morning alkalizer of the body.
It's like apple cider vinegar with its acetic acid.
Exactly. And some then coming in late, could I please ask about apple cider vinegar? Is it good for you? I mean, apart from making your breath smell, there's only good things about it, because I think it breaks down stomach acids well.
I mean, remember, these days you can get those apple cider vinegar gummies. So a lot of people
I found them quite sweet. I know you smell, but I found them a bit sweet.
Yes. I mean, you can get the sugar-free versions these days.
Yeah.
So apples. Shall I show you which ones they are?
Yes, show us. So
they're called New Nordic apple cider vinegar gummies, and they are sugar-free.
They're sugar-free. Okay. All right. Maybe I need to try those then. I have to think about that.
We shall.
Somebody's saying, can you give Magnolia rhodiola to children?
How old?
Yeah, how old, we're asking, Claudia. I would say,
I would say, and I have recommended it to children 12 years and above.
Yeah,
But
okay.
ideally, in my opinion, where I recommended Magnolia rhodiola to a child of 12 was because of the fact that the only other option was to go on Prozac, and the mother
Really?
didn't want that.
Okay. So the gummies, again, what are they called? Just remind us.
They're called apple cider gummies from New Nordic, and they are sugar-free.
Okay. All right.
Here they are.
If you've just joined, I just want to say I'm with the wonderful Shabir from Victoria Health. We're discussing what supplements we should be taking this winter to help us have an incredibly healthy body and just to give us the best immunity we can. We've discussed a brilliant set of what multivitamins can look like. We've discussed a lot of vitamin D. We've discussed, if you're on a budget, what should be your primary supplement to consider. And Shabir is saying vitamin D, and you can literally do it for sort of £8 every couple of months. It will cost you in the end. So now, Shabir, let's say you're kind of wanting to build up that healthiness. We've done the multivit, we've done the vitamin D. What else is really important right now, where we're at with COVID, with this virus around?
Where we're at the moment, I think my third supplement would always be a probiotic.
Okay,
and the reason is because, as I said before, in the beneficial bacteria in your gut produce immunoglobulins. These are tiny protein particles that signal our white blood cells to go around and try and look for pathogens that are within the bloodstream.
Yeah.
Without antibodies, where are we at? We're just going to get infected. So we're trying to increase our antibody production, and it's the beneficial bacteria that do that. I mean, we always think of them for digestion only, but no, they perform a myriad of roles, from digestion, producing energizing B vitamins, detoxifying acids, for example, because you want your acid only in your stomach, and anything else is going to be detrimental for you when it's in your gut.
Okay. We will post this on the blog and on YouTube, and we will list below because Hannah is listening. Shabir, we talk about probiotic a lot and prebiotic.
Prebiotic, yeah.
Prebiotic and probiotic.
Yeah.
Now, when somebody's going in, if they don't go to Victoria Health and they just go to their local health food store, what is the difference? Which one is the right one? You know, it's like so difficult, this subject, because people throw the word about, and I just think there's prio and pro, or there's
So a prebiotic is usually derived from chicory or other sources, and all it is the food for the probiotic bacteria to thrive. So a prebiotic can be very gelatinous in nature when you put it in water, and the idea of it is it can also help to aid constipation, for example. But its main role as far as the body is concerned is to provide the food for the bacteria. However, if you had your probiotic capsule with a meal, there would not be any need to have a prebiotic, because where do bacteria thrive? I mean, they thrive when there's food around. So if you've taken your probiotic with a meal, your probiotic is going to thrive, isn't it?
Okay. So to you, prebiotics are not the important things. Probiotics.
I mean, for example, the supplement that I've brought here, which I tend to recommend for probiotics, as far as probiotics are concerned, has a small amount of prebiotics. So we've made sure that if you if you go on the road somewhere and you take your probiotic and you're not eating a meal, at least there's some food present in there for the bacteria to thrive. But logically speaking, you should just be taking this with food, and everything will be fine. The bacteria will thrive.
All right. A little quick question. Jenny is saying, can you help me then to get rid of acid in the tummy? There were two things. One is something like apple cider vinegar, which is great for just bloating acidity, but also the supplement you gave me, Shabir, to break
betaine hydrochloride, Betaine HCl. I haven't got this on my desk here at the moment. Sorry, I can't.
Is it from Lamberts?
It's from Lamberts.
Exactly.
That's correct.
I've got it.
That's correct.
It's white with blue and red.
White, Betaine HCl.
Yeah, great. Okay. Would you say people with Crohn's disease should take probiotics?
I believe they should do, because obviously they need to calm the inflammation in the gut down. But there are obviously many natural treatments for Crohn's. And there are conventional treatments which incorporate the use of steroids, for example, to suppress the inflammation, whereas the natural treatment would involve the use of curcumin, i.e. turmeric extract, to suppress the inflammation. So there are options open to some to people with Crohn's, but I think a probiotic has to be there, because remember, as I said before, they are involved in detoxification of a wide amount of chemicals and toxins within the gut. Just so that, in case anyone does know, here it is. I have got one here. Lamberts Betaine.
That's for one who's got extra acidity in their tummy, feels that bloatiness, and they want to do exactly what you just described, Shabir. Thank you. Back to France, but it's Lamberts. And Hannah, you're going to list these afterwards, aren't you?
Yes, I'm writing them down now.
You're writing them down now. So what we'll do is when we finish this, we will actually, Hannah will very sweetly add to the bottom and just show the things talked about. She's writing them down. Here's lovely Hannah as we speak. And so that it will be on today on the feed, but it is permanently on IGTV, and then it will also be on YouTube. So Shabir, we've discussed multivitamins, we've discussed vitamin D, we've discussed zinc, we've discussed things to help probiotics. What else is really important for us to think about at this time to be healthy?
I mean, we've as far as supplements is concerned, then we've got to look at vitamin C, isn't it? Vitamin C is definitely the vitamin that has a lot. Well, there is some controversy over it. We know that vitamin C taken at the onset of a cold has been shown to shorten the duration of the symptoms.
Yeah, I mean, I
tend to recover quickly.
Shabir, when I feel a cold coming on, I mean, this is me, all right, and I am somebody who's an extremist, you know that. Yeah. But I will take 6,000 to 8,000
milligrams
of vitamin C in your Zuma.
Yeah, YourZooki.
I'll take. How much do those contain? Those
1,000 milligram a sachet.
Yeah,
it's one of these. This is what we're talking about. Am I right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I take. Yeah.
So each sachet contains 1,000 milligrams.
Yeah, I mean, I find them because I think the one thing, and because I don't want you to talk on this one, I want to say it, is that before I met you, I took so many that did nothing, that also made me feel really acidic. And you introduced me to the concept of liposomal, and that for anybody who's kind of new to supplements is a liquid form. So the absorption is so much better, because everyone always says, oh, vitamin C, you pee out what you don't use. But I remember, and tell me if I'm wrong, the way this works, Shabir, is because it's liposomal, it goes in and it's retained better in your body in some way. But describe why you really, I mean, I don't know if you still sell a pill form of a vitamin C, because I don't think you should.
Yes, people still want acidic vitamin C, and so we still do sell them. Yes, so there are basically 3 types of vitamin C supplements. So the first type is your normal acidic vitamin C, L-ascorbic acid. Yeah, hits the body, hits the gut. The majority of it is excreted out. So that vitamin C is really valuable because it's good for cleansing the gut out. But only about 10% of 1,000 milligrams would get into the bloodstream. Yeah. Then there is what we call the buffered form of vitamin C, which is neutral pH. So with neutral pH, at least it gets into the gut, and some of it, a greater percentage of it, around 50% of it, will still be absorbed, which is brilliant. Yeah. And then you have liposomal vitamin C, the third category, where you're giving the body exactly what it needs. It still needs its acidic vitamin C, but you're encasing it in what we call a phospholipid, which is a layer that protects that acidic vitamin C. But as soon as it hits the cells, the vitamin C enters the cells to perform its myriad of roles that it requires to perform in the body. Yeah. Okay. Which obviously include calming down inflammation and all the usual things.
Tell me, a lot of people have been talking about camu.
Great. It's been around for years. It's simply never taken off in this country. It's never taken off in the US as well. It is a rich source of vitamin C. It's a food state vitamin C, but you would need to ingest a lot to get to the levels of one of those sachets, and it's certainly not liposomal. So you'll be excreting again. You'll be back to your acidic vitamin C. You'll be excreting out a lot.
Okay. A lot of people talking about elderberry syrup, the Pukka. One you sent me, is it elderberry or loganberry? Which one do you give
Elderberry
me?
syrup.
Elderberry. I mean, I swear by that so much that when I'm coming down with something, I mean the vitamin C, but I literally take half a bottle in 2 days, and it's so good.
Well, elderberries have a long history of use for infections and things like that. And the reason is because they're highly nutritive because they've got their vitamin C's and they're actually full of B vitamins as well. But elderberries have been shown to inhibit viral replication. Rather like lysine, they've been shown to inhibit viral replication.
Okay.
And that's why, you take it at the first sign. So it's a simple thing. Pukka elderberry syrup, organic, so for people who really want organic. And this is the one. I'm not surprised you go through 2 bottles very quickly.
It's very tasty. Lila loves it too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of other questions now. We've got questions about memory and everything. So I'm going to say that today is about building up our immunity, and we're going to, we'll do more with Shabir, and we can do a general and perhaps a Q&A in a few weeks, Shabir. I think it will be really good. I am a vitamin addict, Jade, because I so believe in them, and I feel my body is healthier than it's been many years ago when I wasn't so committed to having good supplements. Any of the supplements we talked about, Shabir, with lovely Jill, they have a company called Victoria Health. If you've just joined, it's my favorite multi-supplement and lots of other things on its site, because it's you're really brand agnostic. So you just go out. I know you and Jill, you travel across the bloody world, and I know you even did it as soon as COVID got out, just looking for the best supplements and those products. And I know you're feeling on it. I'm going to leave with asking you a question, Shabir, because it's been brought up a lot on this. Do you take a flu shot? And how do you feel about flu shots? This is quite controversial, but I just think,
I don't. And okay. I don't, but I certainly recommend it to my mother, who's 85.
Yeah.
And I think it is a very personal decision. I think you have to look at your body as a whole. If you're someone who's obviously getting recurrent infections, then I think it's important. But otherwise, it is a very personal decision. I mean,
it is a personal decision.
There are. Yeah, I mean, that's all I can say. Sorry.
Yeah, because Ridette, who's had COVID, said that she's taking one. I think lots of people take it and they feel it's a good protection. I know I make sure my daughter takes it. Yeah. I haven't had one this year yet. Yeah. I had them on and off over the years. It's been that thing whether I remember. I don't have a GP who's efficient enough to say it's time for your flu shot. So that's where I stand on it. But just Shabir, this has been so great. Everyone has a view on flu jabs here. Somebody's saying should kids get flu shots? No flu shots for people under 70. I think, as you said, it's a personal choice. But I think what we've learned today, and if you've just joined us, is a ton of things that we can be doing and taking, whatever your budget, that will really help you in keeping your body its healthiest. So whatever is coming, whether it's the flu or whether it's COVID, you can just know you're doing your best internally.
I mean, there are homeopathic remedies which people, VH customers love. One specific homeopathic remedy called triple flu defense, which is a remedy that's changes every year. So
depending on what's...
So what they do is they get all the data from the World Health Organization, the Center for Diseases, and obviously from patient data as to what the symptoms are. Then they change the homeopathic remedy to suit the season. So, one of them, as I said, is this year's one is simply called Triple Flu Defense 2020 to 2021.
Oh my God, that's so interesting, Shabir.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Dr.
I might have to try that. I mean, would you be taking that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I only take 20 drops a week, but you can take 20 drops every day if you wanted to. I mean, a bottle like this would last a season almost.
Okay, that's
but
great.
If you would take it 3 times a day if something.
All right, I'm going to write, because I've got my shopping list now. So can you just remind me what I know I've got to get from you? Sorry, I know I'd like to do this after this, but I want to get the triple flu defense.
You've got to remember your elderberry syrup.
I've still got it. I've got one still, but also the vitamin C I need to, and the vitamin D I need to get.
And your apple cider vinegar, the sugar-free ones you want to try?
Oh, those bloody gummy bears things. The gummy bears I'm going to get. Okay, that's great. I've got my list. Shabir, it was a delight. I think what we'll do, ladies and
Likewise.
boys, we'll do one in a few weeks, and we might do a general Q&A with Shabir. I think that what's good about starting with the topic, everybody, is that it then applies. We try to find a topic that could apply to everyone. So it's a nice general conversation. And then always know at the end, maybe next time we allow like 15 minutes just for questions, Hannah,
Perfect.
you know, so we can get through everyone. Is there a lot we missed, Hannah, or not?
I actually think you got most of them.
Okay.
Definitely the key themes.
All right. Okay. Shabir, thank you so much, darling.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, darling.
Bye-bye.
Thank you everybody who watched. We will have this is, if you're watching it live now and you want to go back to it, it will be on IGTV and it will be on the main feed today, because there was so much information there. Sometimes I take a while to really assimilate everything Shabir is saying, and I always go and watch back because I learn more. And then it will be, Hannah, on YouTube, won't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it will be on YouTube quite soon, and you can just look up on my YouTube channel. And if you subscribe, then whenever we put a new film up, which we put up every day, you will get a notification that the film is going up, and that's quite helpful. All right, that's great. Take care, and we'll catch up soon. Bye.